Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be a top 10 episode. So the list I have for you guys today is the top 10 championship players to look out for next season. So in this list that I've compiled, it's been quite an interesting list actually. I've got a range of players in here who I think are players who could be in store for a fantastic season next year, who perhaps went a little bit under the radar last season. So what I would love to know from you guys is, from your club, who do you think is a player that everyone else should watch out for next season? Who do you think will have a really good season next year? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be very interested to know. Perhaps a couple of players who went under the radar last season, who you think next season will come to the forefront and really be a crucial player for you. And then at the end of the season, I'll come back to this video and look over some of the comments and then basically see who got their predictions right for who you think will be a big star next season. So if you do go on to enjoy this video, guys, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for regular championship content. But enough of that, let's get into this top 10 list. So coming in first of all onto our list, guys, is going to be Ben Burton of Nottingham Forest. Now, last season really was his breakthrough season at Nottingham Forest. He was fantastic last season, and I think that he's just going to look to build upon that going into this season now. And I mean, last season he managed to grab 3 goals and 3 assists. Taking into consideration that he's only 18 years old, he could be a fantastic player for Nottingham Forest next season, I think. If Aston is fit, Ben Burton could be an absolutely terrific impact substitute, and he could have a very good season. Nottingham Forest as well could be an interesting side next season. Let me know how you think Forest will do next season, but Ben Burton is a player to keep your eye on. Coming in at number 2 on the list for my second player who I think you definitely need to keep your eye on for next season is going to be Alan Judge, playing for Brentford currently. Of course, last season, unfortunately, he was out for the entirety of it with an injury, so hopefully next season he'll be back to fighting on all fronts. And I mean, in the 2015/16 season, Alan Judge was absolutely ridiculous. He managed to score 14 goals that season. He managed to get into the championship team of the season, and he was just absolutely insane. Considering as well, I think since that time, Brentford have got better as a squad. I was looking over the Brentford side the other day that they have currently going into next season, and Brentford really could be in with a good shot of getting the playoffs next season with this current squad they've got. And I think one key player to that will be Alan Judge. He's just a fantastic player when he is fit. If Brentford manage to keep hold of him and he manages to stay fit, he's going to be bagging in the goals and assists next season, in my opinion. And then coming in at number 3, another player you definitely need to keep your eye on for next season is going to be Daryl Horgan, currently playing for my club Preston North End. Daryl Horgan did sign for Preston in the January transfer window. However, we didn't really get to see all too much of him. He only made 10 starts for Preston, and in that time he managed to score 2 goals and get 3 assists. Of course, he was just coming off the back of a full season in the Irish League, so he didn't really get he didn't get a pre-season with Preston, or he didn't get a break or anything like that. So for that reason, Simon Grayson decided to use him quite sparingly throughout the season. So I think it's going to be next season when we really get to see the full potential of Daryl Horgan. We've already seen glimpses of it, but the amount of pace and skill that this guy has got, accompanied by some of our other players that we've already got in the squad, next season Daryl Horgan could be fantastic for Preston, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do for us. And then next of all, coming into our list, maybe a bit of a surprising one to a couple people. I know a lot of players I've included so far have been quite young, but the next player coming into the list is going to be Mile Jedinak of Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa at this point in time are a team which has been heavily tipped for promotion. They're one of the favourites at this point in time, and I mean, rightly so when you consider the squad they've currently got in the Championship. But I think a lot of the reasons for that is their attacking capabilities. You know, a lot of people at the moment talking about players like Kodja, Adoma, Hurahan, Lansbury, but one player who I think will be just as important, if not more, will be Mile Jedinak next season. I mean, last season we saw Aston Villa absolutely fall apart when Jedinak wasn't in their squad, so I think going into next season, Jedinak will have a crucial role to play in this Aston Villa squad. If he is able to stay injury free, of course he is 32 years old, he could be a a monumental player for them. And then coming in at the halfway point at number 5 in our list, it is going to be John Fleck of Sheffield United. Now, last season in League One, of course, Billy Sharp really is getting all the plaudits from Sheffield United coming into the Championship, but I think one player who may even be more influential to the Sheffield United side is going to be John Fleck. Last season in League One, he managed to grab 20 assists in all competitions. I mean, those numbers are absolutely ridiculous. So if he can transfer his form he showed last season into the Championship, he could have a massive role to play for Sheffield United. So definitely a player to keep your eye on. And coming into the list at number 6, it is going to be Josh Brownhill of Bristol City. Now, of course, myself being a Preston North End fan, I have seen Josh Brownhill play quite a bit, as he did used to play for Preston, and things never really worked out for Josh Brownhill at Preston. He never really got his chance to really cement himself down in the first team, but I thought that towards the tail end of last season, Josh Brownhill really started to show what he could do at this Bristol City side, and I think that if he does have a good pre-season with them, manages to secure a starting 11 place for next season, he could be one of the key men for Bristol City last season. And I think there's a lot more to come from Josh Brownhill than we've already seen this season. His potential is undoubtedly there. It's just a case now of putting that into practice, and I think that he does have the potential, and being only 21 years old, he could definitely be a gem for the future. Then coming into our list next of all, guys, we are going to have Jordan Rhodes, of course, currently playing for Sheffield Wednesday. The reason I've decided to include Jordan Rhodes in this list is because last season for Jordan Rhodes wasn't the best for Sheffield Wednesday. He never really got all too much of a chance to completely show what he was capable of. Last season for Wednesday, he only managed to score 3 goals after signing for them in January. I think next season there's a whole lot more to come from Jordan Rhodes, of course. We all know what he's capable of in terms of being a Championship goal scorer. I mean, the amount of goals he was able to score at teams like Huddersfield and Blackburn, and a few at Middlesbrough, were absolutely ridiculous in the Championship, and I think it's only a matter of time before he fully nails down that spot for Sheffield Wednesday and really starts to bag in the goals. If he gets the right striker partnership next season and gets the right service, he can easily score in excess of 20 goals next season. So Jordan Rhodes, definitely a player to keep your eye on. And then coming into our list at number 8, guys, it is going to be Jade Adams from Birmingham, of course. Quite an interesting transfer window so far for Birmingham. I've been very interested to see the players Birmingham are currently being linked with, but one player who I think that could be a key man for them next season is going to be Jade Adams. Only 20 years old, and I already think he's established himself as quite a comfortable Championship player last season, and I think he's only going to be looking to grow on what he was able to achieve coming into this season. So last season for Birmingham, he managed to grab 7 goals and 6 assists. I think really it is his pace and dribbling ability which sets him apart from other people and allows him to really burst past defenders. So I think if he's used in the correct system for Birmingham, he could definitely be in for a hell of a season. And then coming into our list at number 9, guys, a player coming in next is going to be Kemar Roofe from Leeds United. Now, last season, Kemar Roofe came to Leeds with quite a bit of expectation, actually, of course. I think he was signed for something in the region of about £3 million from Oxford United in League Two, and it took him a while to get going at Leeds, I think that's fair to say, and I don't think we've seen the full potential of what Kemar Roofe can do yet in a Leeds United shirt, and in my opinion, that could be to come next season. Last season for Leeds, he managed to grab 3 goals and 7 assists. The reason I thought that we never really got to see the best out of him was because he was used in several positions throughout the season, and he was never really able to cement down his number 1 position and a place in the starting 11. If he's able to do that early on next season, he could be a vital player for Leeds coming into this season, because I think he does have all the potential to be that starting player for Leeds. And if somehow the new manager, whoever it will be for Leeds, manages to come up with a system where they play Chris Wood up front with like Pablo Hernandez and Kemar Roofe in behind, that could be a formidable strike force for them. And then coming into our list at number 10, guys, it is going to be Duncan Watmore from Sunderland, of course. Sunderland at the moment, all of their big players seem to be leaving out the door, and I think that that could pave the way for Duncan Watmore to be a key man for them next season. Of course, the attacking player can play in a variety of positions as well. You know, he can play up front or he can play on the wing. Quite an interesting player to keep your eye on. In his burst out season in the Premier League, he scored a handful of goals and really did start to show his potential. And I think in the Championship, I think Duncan Watmore will be an excellent striker for Sunderland. Guys, let me know what you do think of that down below. He is only 23 years old, and I think he's got one great future ahead of him, especially in the Championship next season. So there you guys have it. There are my top 10 players who I think you need to look out for next season. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure I've left a bunch of them off. Who do you think out of your club is a player to watch out for next season, guys? Let me know down below. I'm always very interested to hear what you guys have to say. So guys, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you check out all the other links in the description down below. Make sure you subscribe for regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.